Welcome to Inside Roanoke. I'm Melinda Mayo, the Communications and Media Officer for the City of Roanoke. Today we're going to learn about a new public art sculpture at the Melrose Branch Library. We're also going to hear tips on how to prevent property crimes and a lot more, so stay with us.
Rectangular rapid flashing beacons. We'll call them RRFBs for short. So what are they? RRFBs help pedestrians cross busy, unsignaled intersections. City of Roanoke has installed 2 of these devices, one on Dell Avenue near Fallon Park Elementary and one at 11th Street at Orange Avenue Northwest. The pedestrian presses a button and the lights begin to flash, alerting motorists that a pedestrian is about to cross. The pedestrian will then ensure that the motorist comes to a complete stop, making eye contact to confirm. Once the motorist has stopped, the pedestrian may safely cross, scanning to ensure all vehicles in all lanes have stopped. City of Roanoke wants to ensure that our citizens who travel by foot are getting where they need to go safely and efficiently. Drivers, when you see the flashing lights at these intersections, please stop and allow pedestrians to cross safely. If you follow these guidelines, we can all make Roanoke a much more walkable city.
We're talking about a new public art sculpture in the City of Roanoke, and my guests today are Douglas Jackson. Douglas is the Arts and Culture Coordinator for the City of Roanoke. And then we have the artist with us, Napoleon Jones Henderson. And thank you so much for joining us today. I want to talk about this. What's the name of this new public art?
You go ahead and tell them.
Well, it's a sculptural series, and it's called Rhapsody in Knowledge.
And then we had a process for selecting the artist. Talk about that a little bit.
We did. This is funded through the Present for Art program that the City of Roanoke has. And every piece that's selected is selected with a panel of citizens and stakeholders. And this piece was selected as the library was under construction, this new beautiful library in the neighborhood of Melrose.
Yeah. Okay, and you're the artist.
I'm the artist.
Yes.
And in reference to the title of the work, this is a library. And a library is a repository of knowledge.
True.
And it's accessible to people if they choose to come in the building, open the books, and engage them. And we know what a rhapsody is, and that's a cacophony of sound and various kinds of individuals working together. And so with the individuals, the community, the librarians, the books, and all the people, they are the notes of the rhapsody.
Right.
And so when they walk out of here, they have that in their head and in their hearts.
And that's why we named it that.
That's why it's named.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist.
Oh, well, you got enough time? I've been at this for a bit. I grew up in Chicago, and I graduated my bachelor's from the Art Institute of Chicago, and I then moved some years later to Boston to teach at Massachusetts College of Art. My principal medium is textile weaving. So I taught textile weaving all my career, as well as printmaking and drawing. And the aspect of public art is something I've been doing for probably about 30 years now. And it started serendipitously in the sense of I was commissioned to do a set of doors for a library, believe it or not.
How about that?
Which was my first public art commission. And they were to be tapestries, but they weren't security doors, they were decorative doors on the interior. And my daughters had just come home. They were about 6, 7 years old with the little enamels you do in the Girls and Boy Scouts.
Right.
And it dawned on me, let's do this out of enamel. And so I've been working in enamel since then, and I've exhibited all over the world. As a matter of fact, I've just received my work back from this current, just ended Venice Biennale. I was an exhibiting artist at the Venice Biennale, the 58th, which we hopefully it'll be able to go back next 2 years because of the flooding. But I've exhibited all over the world, and I belong to a group of artists. We've been together 52 years now, and the name of the group is AfriCobra, the African Commune of Bad, Relevant Artists. Thus, we go back to the name of the work, Rhapsody in Knowledge, because if it's not relevant art, any art, it's not important.
Right.
And relevancy is the important, not only the aesthetic relevance, but it's also the intellectual and the spiritual relevance.
Well, we had a celebration of this art. Talk about that a little bit, when we did it and what we did.
Well, we like to have a public celebration, a dedication, and we did that on January 17th. And it's a chance not only to kind of welcome the art in the community, but re-welcome the artists in the community. And when Napoleon came and worked with students at Hurt Park Elementary and William Fleming High School and worked with the neighborhood association, they really responded to them, and you can see why. So there's been a lot of excitement that led up to that dedication.
Douglas, why did we choose the Melrose branch for this sculpture?
Well, we do like to invest in public art in neighborhoods, and neighborhood libraries are a terrific convening point for the neighborhood. If you come into this library in the afternoon, it's lively. People not only are looking for books and information on the internet, but they can be surrounded by some terrific art that makes you think and reflect, and we think it really serves its purpose here.
And I want to ask both of you, why do you think public art is so valuable to the community?
I think it's valuable to the community because what it does is it allows the community to have a direct engagement or direct relationship with the work, and consequently they have a communal or a shared ownership of it. And it stretches the museum from the interior to those very historic kind of structures to the exterior, which is where people actually live. And so in the sense that public art is exactly that, it belongs to the people whose place in which it resides. And so for me as a public artist, I always encourage and am excited about the engagement with the community itself to gender from them what kinds of things they might like to see in the work, and they give me that. I take it, digest it, and I put it back in the aesthetic language that I use. And I use a very broad palette of colors, and thus we talk about Rhapsody. I'm creating visual composition, because I say what I do with my work is I create visual music.
Douglas, anything you want to add to that?
I think that was beautifully said. Yeah, and in public art, we consider the public involved in the goals that we set forward when we first start to think about a piece. Then often the public can participate with the artist when they work on it.
Like they did with him.
Yeah, and then of course the appreciation of it, and you can stumble across it. You don't have to get dressed up to go see it. But we are really happy to have this piece in the public art collection.
That's great. Hey, if somebody watching had a question about this art, is there a number they could call or a website?
Sure. The city's website we have a public art portion of that, and the short way to get to it is artinroanoke.org. That's a very short way, but if you're on the city's webpage, you can get to it. And then contact me. It's douglas.jackson@roanokeva.gov.
Great. Well, it's very exciting. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Want to know what's going on at the Roanoke Public Libraries? Tune into RVTV Channel 3 or rvtv.org for library happenings. Join Joey, Macklin, and Chauncey each month as they talk about programs going on at the Roanoke Library branches. Learn about RPL Fit, story times, or a class from the Virginia Room. It's all on library happenings from the Roanoke Public Libraries. Log on to rvtv.org for showtimes.
My guest is Susan Herndon Powell, and she's with Roanoke Parks and Recreation. Susan, we would like for you to tell us about an upcoming, it's a Bike and Heritage Center tour. Tell us when that is, or where it is, all that.
Sure. So coming up this spring, Thursday, April 16th, we're going to be heading about an hour west of Roanoke. We're going to be going to the Allegheny County, and our first stop is going to be the Jackson River Scenic Trail. It's a rail trail. It's about 14.5 miles long. We're going to go out and back and do the whole thing. It's crushed limestone. It's a really great trail, good for having a mountain bike or a hybrid or a gravel bike on that. So we'll explore. It's a really pretty area following the river there. Scenic waterfalls, lots of cool vistas. Rock formations, hopefully a lot of spring wildflowers. I'm a big fan of spring wildflowers, and I'm hoping we see a lot along the way. So we'll spend kind of our morning doing that and out and back, and then we're going to head to Clifton Forge and go to the C&O Heritage Center. They've got a great train depot set up there. They've restored the depot from a long time ago. They've got train yards, they've got a model railroad. It's really cool. We've got some really great tour guides that we're going to have them lead a tour there before we head back to Roanoke.
And is there a cost involved in this tour?
Yes, $45, but it's going to include your transportation to and from Roanoke, as well as your guides for the day, yeah.
Okay. Now, what about limitations or restrictions on who can participate?
Sure, it's for ages 15 and up. If they are under the age of 18, we ask the parent comes along with us. But other than that, they need to bring their bike and a helmet and their lunch for the day.
Yeah.
We ask the folks also have the ability to ride, 29 miles round trip. We do have support along the way, so if someone needs a ride, we can provide that as well.
This sounds like such a cool outing thing to do, offer for people who live here. Why does Parks and Rec think these kind of events are important.
Sure, I think getting people outside and being active is one of our, what we want to do with our community. We have a really pretty, amazing area, lots of scenic value to the area, so we want to go out and explore it and help people have a good time and recreate safely in the outdoors.
Anything else that we didn't mention that you think we should say about the tour or about outside recreation?
Yeah, I think just it's going to be a really great tour. It's a good time of year to be outside, and you've got the leadership provided, and I think we're just going to have a great time and hopefully learn a lot as well. It's a lot better than just trying to go out on your own. You're going with a group. It's a little safer, and people know what to do and where to go. That's kind of the comfort of doing it together. Yeah, and if folks have questions, I'm happy to answer them. We lead several different bike tours every year through the City Parks and Rec. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and yeah, we'd love to have people join us.
Okay, so if somebody watching says, I want to go on that tour, how do they do it?
Just sign up at playroanoke.com. You can also call our main office at 540-853-2236 and ask for me, or anyone at the front desk can help you out.
Okay, well, it sounds great, and I hope it's a big success.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Our four-legged friends make us smile all year long. Isn't it time we return the favor? The Regional Center for Animal Care and Protection needs your help to help keep these pets happy and healthy. Our goal is to keep pets in loving homes and out of shelters. You can make this happen by donating to the RCACP Food Pantry any time of the year. The following donations are needed: canned cat and dog food, dry cat and dog food, cat litter, and toys. Residents who need to pick up food can do so at 1510 Baldwin Avenue Northeast.
My guest is Sheila Umberger, and Sheila is the director of Roanoke Public Libraries, and we're here to talk about an exciting new book that's going to get a launch soon. Tell us a little bit about the title of the book and what it's about.
Well, it's the history of Roanoke in the 1940s, and it's Nelson Harris's new book. To put it in perspective, there's a book called Barnes' History of Roanoke that goes from the mid 1800s all the way up to 1939. This is the decade after that book. That's considered. He worked at the Roanoke Times and wrote that book during the 1960s. So, about 3 years ago, Nelson came to us and said, "Have this idea to do the next decade of the Barnes type book." So what we did at that point is he'd had an old microfilm reader, and he would come every week, and we would let him take 2 rolls of the Roanoke Times film home. And he's read literally every newspaper. He's an amazing researcher. Yeah. So we've worked with him on a number of projects, but this has been a really exciting one. They're also using a lot of photos from our collection. So we have over 17,000.
From Virginia Room.
From Virginia Room,
right.
Yes.
So you all are kind of partners in this book.
Absolutely, to the point where it has grown to the point where we now have an agreement with Nelson. He's giving the Roanoke Public Library Foundation the copyright to this book, so it would be preserved forever. So we're very excited about that. They also have the copyright to the Roanoke Baby book that's distributed to every baby born in Roanoke.
And the title of the book again is
Roanoke, 1940 to 1949.
And for those who might not remember Nelson Harris, tell us just a little bit about the author.
Well, he was a previous mayor.
Okay. Yeah.
And he also is a pastor, and he's an amazing local history researcher. So he's published a number of books over the years on different neighborhoods, different topics, and several things in this book are really amazing and are amazing for local history. He's the first comprehensive index of every person from the Roanoke Valley that was killed during World War II. There were 3 or 4 different indexes. He's combined that into one, the first time ever. Also, we have a database of African American newspapers. So unfortunately, the Tribune lost some articles and newspapers to a fire. What was happening though is other newspapers were picking up Roanoke stories. So Nelson has read thousands and thousands of articles, and so this particular book also tells the whole story of everyone in the valley, and so we're really proud of that.
Yeah.
So it's it's going to be an amazing book, and we're really excited for its launch, which will be on March 8th.
And you're going to have an event. Talk about that.
Yes, it felt like we should celebrate with other partners.
Yeah.
So we're going to launch it at the Taubman Museum, and it's going to be tied. They're doing a pop art series, and it'll be like I think the final day or near the final day, and it's going to be from 3 to 5 p.m. open to the public.
In March.
In March,
Okay.
March 8th, Sunday, March 8th. And we're having a lot of fun with it. So 1940s theme. We're going to have a scavenger hunt. We're going to do a photography exhibit that'll be showing pictures that people will recognize, pictures of Roanoke, as well as some that he scanned and collected from the community that are in the book, over 300 photos. So we'll also have a photo booth. We're even doing a victory garden with the Roanoke Community Garden Association, which is our U.S. Star City Reads partner.
Right.
Star City Reads will be giving out books that were published in the 1940s for children.
That's interesting.
So we're having a lot of fun, as well as Southwest Virginia Ballet and the Symphony doing swing music. So it's going to be a really fun event.
Why do you think it's important to celebrate the history of Roanoke?
Well, the history, of course you mentioned the Virginia Room. We have amazing collections for genealogy, but I've come to believe that the most important thing that we can do is preserve local history, because it's stories that are forgotten.
Yes.
So he interviewed the person that turned the light on for the Roanoke Star, the Mill Mountain Star. It has a lot of special interest, as well as ads from the newspaper that are pretty amazing, like Ella Fitzgerald performed here. A lot of really vintage kind of things that people kind of forget, but I think you can learn from the past, hopefully not repeat problems from the past, but learn positive things about your community. And so those can be lost in the local history.
Kind of a pride thing about where you
Right.
live.
And even seeing photos. I mean, we can see places just from the Taubman where we have a photo of what it looked like in like 1942, and that's pretty cool. So we're going to set up some photos in those areas so people can see that as well.
And I'm assuming you'll have that book available for checkout.
We will. We'll have copies of it, and of course he'll be doing a book signing as well.
Okay.
So, and postcards. We're using postcards from our collection that I think people will find interesting, because they're scenes of Roanoke.
Well, if somebody watching this said, I'd like to have some questions or I'd like to get more information, is there a number they could call?
I think you can just reach out to us, to the Virginia Room, or to the main library specifically, and also look on our Facebook and our webpage as well.
Sounds very exciting, and I think it's just a great thing to have. So thank you for sharing it with us today.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
What's up, punk? What you taking those books home for? They ain't gonna help you on the streets.
To study?
Yeah, man, you need to join our crew, aka the Cobra.
Yeah, ain't nobody messing with the Cobra.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to go to college.
Nah, man. I mean, we're just having some fun. Nobody in our gang gets caught anyway.
Well, I guess sure.
All right. Hey, look, Henry. If you're gonna keep rolling with us, you gotta prove to me that you can hang.
Okay.
All right, then. Go.
Henry, what are you doing?
Every year, over 7,000 arrests result from gang activity. You could end up just like these criminals. Is that what you want?
Don't be a part of the problem. Be a part of the solution.
My guest is Sergeant Boswell with the Roanoke Police Department.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for joining us today, and we want to talk about making our viewers aware of property crime and how they can help prevent it.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's just start talking about what is a property crime.
So a property crime is a theft, basically. We can get into property damages, a theft from a shed, a theft from a house, a building. You have something sitting outside and they take something off of it, you know. So that's basically what property crimes are.
Okay, and so what are some of the factors based on people's behavior, things that they do, that cause the property crimes? What makes us vulnerable? What do we do that invite it, you know?
So, unfortunately, no one should ever have to worry about their stuff being taken, but we do. You know, there's mean people out there, there's people with their own agendas out there. For us, though, to try to help prevent some of that from happening is just some simple things of what's in plain view. You know, if you've got your car parked in your driveway, as you should, you leave some items in there, your purse, your wallet, a bag, a computer. You know, if you need to leave it in your vehicle, if we could cover it up or put it in the trunk or something a little bit harder to get to, because whatever that item is, they need for some reason, and it's nothing to them to break your window to get it. You know, it's nothing. What's that cost them? You know, it's not theirs. They're not going to pay for it. They want whatever's in there. So hiding the items would be great if you couldn't take them out. If you could take them out, take them inside. Even better. Locking our car doors. You know, I know we forget. We hit the wrong button. You know, maybe go back, double check the latch and everything. Maybe they're still thinking, well, I'm going to break in there. Well, maybe it makes it a little bit tougher, and because of that time delay, then we can catch them, or you can see it and prevent it, or call 911. That would help us out a little bit as well.
So some of it is just us not being aware of what we need to do to secure our property, right?
Yes, but we're so busy. You know, we've got so much to do. Your to-do list is constantly flowing. You're not thinking, you know, you need to get inside and cook, or you need to get inside and do laundry, or the kids are this, you know, and we're just not thinking. If we just pause up a little bit, spend a little bit more time thinking about, okay, I'm going inside. What's out here that you know, potentially someone would want or try to get into, and how can I help secure that better?
Well, let's talk about some tips that might help the people who are watching today. So you spoke about vehicles earlier, about locking them and not leaving your cell phones like sitting out where people can see them. What about at home? Security at home. Talk to us about that.
You know, checking your windows, making sure you have good locks on your windows. What kind of lock do you have on your door? Is it simple? Is it a little bit more complicated? Is it a deadbolt? You know, what's the level of kind of complicated? The more complicated it is to get in, the better benefit it is to you. You know, the more time they have to spend to get in there, the more reaction time we have, or the potential of them to get caught. So checking your, you know, if you have an older door or something that's got more of a flimsy lock, maybe updating that to a little bit better lock. You know, having security systems or keypad entries too as well, alarms. You know, lights, if you have motion lights or lights you could keep on all the time. Making sure that they're at, you know, maybe the four corners of your house if needed, you know, so you could see all the way around potentially. Light seems to deter people. So, you know, it's always a simple, easy one to do. People ask about dogs. Dogs are great. They alert us, you know. Their own alarm system that's all over the place, inside and out. We have recently, the Roanoke Police Department has partnered with Ring. So with Ring, once you get the Ring product, you're already signed up. Doesn't mean we get to log in and go through all your stuff. You actually have to post a video for us to be able to see it. But it's limited. Doesn't tell us the exact house or nothing like that unless you put it in the comments. There's a section to comment and stuff. We can email the group that is in the area that we're looking at. So, and we can get some feedback, but what would help us out is if you do have a Ring camera, you do see an offender or somebody being suspicious, pilfering through your garbage, trying to get into your door locks, or trying to even get in your house or peering in windows, that's important information. We would love to have that information. What we can look into is unofficial. If you call the police department, 853-2212, non-emergency, you can file certain reports over the phone, give us the information so we can put it in an official report, and then we can look into it. Would be great, because sometimes we can get on that, you know, that app, but if it's 3 or 4 or 5 days later, that's 3 or 4 or 5 days later that information has been sitting there that I really, you know, would like to have had. So if we could report some of that stuff officially, that would be great.
Well, and I was going to bring that up. It's really important to report when a property crime happens, and this Ring alert system also is very helpful.
Ring is great, but reporting anything, period. If you're driving down your street and you look over and you see someone peering in a window or pulling on a shed door and you're like, they don't live there, I know they don't, that'd be nice to know. You know, a description, where they're at, what time, give that to us, let us look into that. You know, if it's in progress, that's 911. Let me clarify that. If it's happening immediately, you're driving down, you see it, it's called 911. If you saw it, you didn't think about it 4 or 5 hours later, and you thought, you know what, that was suspicious, it just hit me, call the non-emergency number.
Okay. And then you also mentioned the storage sheds.
Yes.
So if
Yep.
people have a storage shed and, keep that locked, because I know people keep their lawnmowers and equipment
You
and
keep
stuff out
various tools, maybe you keep your leaf blower, and maybe you keep your little lawnmower, your weed eater, or other valuable items that are easy to grab, snatch.
Snow blower.
Right, snow blower. If we get
Yeah.
some snow lately, anything that they can get and take to a pawn shop and make a little bit of cash off of. If you could write some serial numbers down, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's how we track it. You take I know it gets into a lot, but
Yeah.
if we could document a little bit, take pictures, quick picture on your phone, jot down a serial number. I know I have like a little notepad on my phone for notes and stuff.
Okay.
Jot it down in there to keep, and then if something does happen, it does get broke into, hey, I had a steel chainsaw and here's a serial number, and we have different ways we can log that stuff in, we can track it. We can go to pawn shops and different avenues to try to recover that stuff.
Is there any benefit to actually engraving the serial numbers on our property? Or?
We do the VIN number engraving for our cars and stuff, and that's a value to the public as well. If you get an item and it really doesn't have a good serial number that you can, and you think, well, let me just jot my initials and the date, somehow, and you take a picture of that, you're like, hey, this is my leaf blower.
Yeah.
It's also got LGS engraved in it, and the date, I took a picture of it. That's an identifying mark. Now, can we put that in our serial number system? No. But if that was found at a pawn shop or someone's yard sale or side of the road or something like that, that's an identifying mark that would help us get the item back.
Right. And so one other thing I want to make sure and ask you is, so if people in their neighborhoods wanted to come together to kind of help watch out for each other and make sure property crimes don't happen, are there groups? Is there a way to organize? How does that work?
The more eyes, the better benefit it is. There's neighborhood watches and stuff that different communities, I know there's HOA rules and stuff like that they could kind of govern some of that. But anytime anyone wants to meet up and put a plan together of, hey, if we see these things, we need to make sure we call and encourage each other to do that. That's absolutely great. If there's email groups and stuff that you send out, hey, I saw a white male in a gray suit and a hoodie last night. He didn't look like he normally lives in our neighborhood. You guys keep an eye out for him, or if you see him, maybe call the police, let him come out and check him out. We've had some of our car doors have been unlocked and people have gotten in there and gotten some stuff out lately. Probably beneficial. It is beneficial.
So awareness is a big key.
Absolutely. Head on a swivel, looking around. You know what's going on in your neighborhoods. I wish that we could put a police officer on every street, but we can't do that.
Right.
So we do need the help from the public to help solve things and help get information. The information gathering is huge.
So remind us again, to report a crime, call what number?
If it's in progress, 911.
Okay.
All right. If it's not in progress, 853-2411, and it goes to dispatch. If they want to call and file it at the PD, it's just information. An evidence text not needed. It's basic stuff. They want to call 853-2212 is the number to call. And if they call 2212 and the person that answers says, hey, this actually needs to go to dispatch, then they'll forward it over to dispatch. Okay. They have their criteria, and if it does meet it or doesn't meet it, they have different things they have to do based off of that.
Well, it's great information, and thank you for sharing it, and hopefully everybody will take it to heart.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
3 facts about lead poisoning. Just a few particles of dust from lead-based paint are enough to poison a child. Lead from deteriorating paint can be found in the soil around the home and in older playgrounds. Since children often put their hands or toys in their mouths, washing their hands helps protect them from lead poisoning. Lead poisoning affects over 1 million children today. Find out when your home, school, and daycare center was built. If it was before 1978, it probably contains lead-based paint. Contact Lead Safe Roanoke at 853-5682 for more information.
If you would like to adopt a pet, did you know that you can also go to the RCACP website and their Facebook page to look at pets for adoption? It's easy to do. Simply go to their website at rcacp.org or visit their Facebook page. Both sites include information and pictures of animals waiting to be adopted. Help make a difference in the life of a pet today. Adopt from the Regional Center for Animal Care and Protection.
We hope you've enjoyed this month's show, and we'll see you next time on Inside Roanoke.